I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and here with me today is Dr. Peter Megaw, Chief Exploration Officer at Mag Silver. Thanks so much for being here.
Always a pleasure, Charlotte. Great to see you again.
Great, yeah, and we did last speak about a year ago when the silver price environment was quite a bit different than it is today. Can you share any insight on what's changed?
Well, I think what's changed is global economic uncertainty, which has driven up the price of gold, and silver tends to follow gold. And when silver breaks out, it tends to break out much farther than gold.
What does a higher silver price mean for you as a company? Could be in terms of share price, in terms of investor interest, or your operations?
Well, a high tide lifts all boats, and so an increased silver price affects all of those things for us in a very positive sense. So we get much more investor interest, we get a higher share price out of it, and well, it doesn't necessarily affect the economics of what we're doing because our grade is so high, but a higher price is always good for us.
I've been hearing a lot about increased investor interest in this space. Where would you say that's coming from? Are we seeing people who are not usually in this industry now getting interested again?
Yes, what we've noticed actually starting last year was we're starting to see some generalist funds coming back into our sector, which curiously coincided with a number of metal specialist funds getting out of the business. So yeah, there is a shift in where the investors are coming from, and we hope it keeps going because generalists coming in tends to be a pretty good indication of a sort of increased broader market groundswell of interest in silver, for example.
Right, and on that note, everybody's asking where silver may be going in the last months of the year. Do you have any ideas and also about what path it might take to get there?
Well, my crystal ball is no better than anybody else's, and so I suspect that silver will continue to do what it's been doing, which is going up and going down again, which causes heartburn and sleepless nights for many people in the industry. But I think it depends a lot on gold. It depends on the trade situation between the U.S. and China and the sort of deliberate fomenting of political and economic uncertainty. And, a lot depends on how Donald Trump feels on any given morning, whether the price is going up or down.
As you mentioned, as a company, this is a good environment, of course. Can you share some of the upcoming catalysts you have? You've had a big year, your project.
Yes, well, the biggest thing is that we made the formal construction decision really going forward last spring. So that's now very much underway. The long lead time items are all in the process of being built. I was on site last week. The ramp is looking good. We've actually got the first few cuts through the vein. So that's all, that's a big deal for us. We're in what people call the Valley of Death as far as the Lassonde curve is concerned, and we're about to crawl out of that. We're expecting to be in production by fourth quarter next year. So just watch as things go forward. And of course, we continue to explore, and seems like every time we explore, we find more. When we announced the production go-ahead decision, we also announced the discovery of 3 new veins on the property, all of which are in reach of the mining infrastructure that we're building. So these are all additional ounces and tons that come along for a very small incremental price.
Okay, and what's the plan for the rest of the year? What things can people expect to see?
Well, we're going to keep digging, and what you'll probably the most important thing we expect to see in the next month or two is breaking ground on the foundation for the plant, so we can get that rolling. And of course, the exploration drills are still drilling, so any given hole could give us a very pleasant surprise.
Okay, so it sounds like everything's moving along very smoothly. You said you're looking at production in the second half of next year. Do you anticipate, I know it's very hard to predict, we talked about that, but do you anticipate entering production at a time when the silver price is doing well, and how much does that actually matter to you as a company?
Well, start by noting that our all-in sustaining cost for producing an ounce of silver is about $5.25. And that number actually includes taxes, which isn't supposed to be included in an AISC calculation. So we're going to be the world's lowest cost, or one of the world's lowest cost silver producers. So, obviously the more over $5.25 we are, the happier we are. But we're not one of the companies that needs 16, 17, 18 or more dollars an ounce for our mine to be productive and profitable, we're basically going to be economic under almost any silver price conditions. Clearly, we would love to see the price be high when we go in, because that will accelerate our payback, which we'd like to see, especially since the material we'll be going into in the early days, the early few years, we're looking at kilogram plus silver grades, plus gold, plus base metals. So the payback from that will be very, very quick. And the higher the silver price is, the faster that'll happen.
Right, and I think you mentioned last year you want a high silver price, but not too high. Would you say that's still the case?
Well, yeah, I don't want to say the higher something goes, the higher something can fall, and the faster it goes up, the faster it comes down. And we've actually seen that over the last month. We've seen silver go up to $18 and then fall back to $15 an ounce, and that does not do good things for sustaining people's interest and confidence in the market sector. So we would like to see a steadier increase. Of course, markets don't necessarily behave like that, especially when the markets are responding for the reasons they're responding right now. But silver it's a schizophrenic metal. It's a little more than half industrial use and half monetary use, and the industrial use is growing because of silver's performance as the green metal, because it's used in electric cars, it's used in solar panels, it's used in all kinds of passive biomedical uses. And these uses are all going to continue to grow, so the demand for silver will still be strong. So we're looking forward to positive things that will do to the market over time.
Okay, well, that's all for me, unless there's any final words that you would want to leave investors with.
No, just that silver is the green metal. It is the metal that is making the alternate energy, electric cars, all of those things work that people want, but they do have to remember that silver comes from somewhere. It comes from a hole in the ground, and what we're trying to do is get as much silver as possible out of the smallest possible hole in the ground.
Just one final note. Can you give a sense of how much silver actually gets used in an electric car, for example? We always hear about the other metals that are in there.
I don't know what the number is, because I think it varies from car to car, but the numbers I've heard is it's about 5 to 6 times more than is in a conventional automobile.
Significantly more.
Significantly more.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I think we'll leave it there. Thanks for being here today.
Always a pleasure, Charlotte. Look forward to doing this next year.
Great. Once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and this is Dr. Peter Megaw with Mag Silver.